Ep95, short series versus long series. I know very, very few people who are successful writing standalone novels. Most of us write in series just because it's easier. It's easier to sell 10 books to one person than it is to sell one book to 10 different people. The amount of effort, and you build a platform and you keep growing from there. It's the ziggurat of business. So when you get somebody on board, you want to keep them on board, and that's why people write in series. You have to look at your balance between your character growth and being able to move the story forward. How many times can you bring up a lost brother or a lost girlfriend or something like that, or other issues from their past that affect their current? How many times can they be saved? How many times? And you have to look at that when you're writing in a longer series. When do you want to reveal certain character traits? And at what point are you unable to move the story forward without getting creative, deus ex machina, as it may be? You don't want to just bring things out of the blue. Hey, look at this. It just magically appears. And now, oh, hey, a new conflict that we need to resolve. It makes it a challenge. So you have to look at, can you continue moving the story forward? And that's based on your overall series arc. Does it leave enough room for growth? Or did you plan to write a trilogy? You wrote a trilogy, it did great, and now it's like, oh, hey, leverage that and write a few more stories, and your fans like it, but you're starting to burn out. You're starting to find that you have to pull stuff out of thin air in order to make a story kind of work, and only kind of work. And you want stories to just flow. So put that in mind. Keep that in mind as you build your initial series arc. I've written a space lawyer series, and that is each case is a new element of law. So that makes it really easy because there's an unlimited amount of law that we can look at that will have conflict and resolution, conflict resolution, conflict resolution, and finally carry the story to the end where we get to, oh, okay, here's the ruling based on this stuff, and here's all the players and how we're going to work with those and interact with those players who are involved in this case. So that one is great because it's unlimited, but it's still building because the characters, I have core characters, but I add in and I take some out and I add more in. So it keeps the series fresh, and that series does very, very well. Each new release is a big hit. It juices the whole series. So I don't see that one ending anytime soon because it works. Another series I did 10 books in a post-apocalyptic. I wanted to write space opera, so I took them to space. I did a transition volume, and then I did 7 more volumes in space opera, and I burned out. I just couldn't write those characters anymore because I couldn't come up with additional stuff. They're saying do the same kind of things over and over, and the characters kind of blending into one another. So I just had to wrap it up, even though this series was extremely lucrative. So that's when I say, what do your numbers look like? Yes, the numbers looked great, but the Space Lawyer series is a spinoff, so I get to bring in those characters doing cameos, and that is perfect for those characters. So I bring all my old readers on this journey, and it's a side road journey that is now the main journey, and it's working great. So for me, long series, build it into the series arc, and I didn't do that with the first series that turned out to be 18 books. The last book was a double volume. So 19 books in essence. It was supposed to be a trilogy, so it was amazing that we were able to get 19 books out of it, but we did, and they were good. The story moved and it flexed and it worked well, but there was a limit. I just couldn't write it anymore. So you look at Deathlands, there's only so many times you can describe this rifle that the one-eyed man carries, and the ammo. There's limited ammo. It's post-apocalyptic, decades after the fall of humanity, and they always have enough ammo, and they fire on full auto, and it's amazing. They had to have fired 1 billion rounds in that. So it has lost its realism. But I've only read like 70 or 80 volumes of that series. Cool premises, but it has long outlived its usefulness. But it's published by Avon, which is interesting. Avon Romance, right? Or it's published by Harlequin. Sorry. So they publish romance, but they also publish this post-apocalyptic books that men can get into while their wives are browsing the romance novel. And that was from 40 years ago, that premise, because it worked, but they're still publishing. It's crazy. And author excitement, like I talked about. is it just hard to write these characters again? They're easy to write the characters, but is it hard to make it gripping? And that's when you need to know. You need to make that decision. Do I want to keep going? Because writing should never be painful. Hard, yes, but not painful. Not like, oh my God, I have to write this book. Oh, geez. And not because of other stuff, but just because the characters, I don't know what they need to do now. I'm done with them. But don't close the door, because as a business, putting your business hat on, you've got this lucrative product. You can't just cast it aside. Hey, I've got a new shiny. And if nobody buys it, it's like, hey, you still have bills to pay. So I recommend don't close the door. And I didn't with my 18 volume series, just in case. So you balance your business and your personal needs. And once you've been away from the characters for a year or two, you might realize, hey, I do have a new story, and then throw it in there, even though you wrapped it up. It's okay. Readers love new stuff, especially when it materializes out of nowhere, as long as you've gotten them on your newsletter. So, important safety tip, always hook your readers and hold them close. They're gold. All right, everybody, short series versus long series. Plan the long series to be long. And if it's not selling and it's not working for you, finish it up, but finish it. Don't say, hey, it's going to be a 10 volume series, and at 4 books in, it's not selling, and you're saying, hey, this just isn't working. So wrap it up with that 4th book. Just say, hey, here's what this happened, or even a novella, a 5th book novella, just to wrap it up. Don't leave your readers hanging, because then they'll be kind of mad. Don't make your readers mad. Peace, fellow humans.